right now. Yeah, we'll start signing. Can we open those other doors? Yeah, we can. We're taking out.
Let us honor the memory, stand for solidarity, toast and breathing, and reflect on our shared responsibility to build safer space for all.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
At this time, while we're still standing, I would like everybody to have Mr. Specholte's family in their prayers. He was absent in the middle of the day to be by the bedside of one of his family members. That's the reason. We're taking all this. At this time, I would like to request a motion to approve the transfer process. The move second to begin, if you, is there any discussion? Please take the roll.
Bradley. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Ms. Parker? Yes. Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Ms. Barley?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez? Yes. At this time, in the meeting, I'd like to have, again, take roll call. Ms. Barnes?
Bradley.
Ms. Parker? Yes. Ms. Sherman?
Here.
Ms. Barley?
Here.
Ms. Vasquez? Here. All those who wish, stand for the pledge. Let's go to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, vision of the vision speech has been recited by Alex Ogle and Isabel Wagner, fourth grade students of our elementary.
The mission of Toledo Public Schools is to provide innovative educational opportunities that ensure that students is prepared for their future.
The district's vision is to empower each and every student.
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to adopt the December 18th, 2025 board agenda.
So.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no, Mr. Gill, please call roll. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Parker? Yes. Ms. Gilligan?
Yes.
Ms. Barley?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Section 2 of the agenda, our presentations, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Mason.
Good evening and thank you. I'd like to read the names of the retirees for this month. Patricia A. Davis, first grade teacher at Everett. Sheila N. Romo, food service truck driver. Lauren Freeman, miscellaneous laborer at Rogers. Laura Keenan, first grade teacher at Harvard. Robin Perry, local native teacher at Howard. John Henry, second grade teacher at Glenwood. Keith Allen Hershey, math teacher at Harvard. Kimberly Hopkins, second grade teacher at Harvard. Dorothy K. Jennings, CCSD resource at Bowser. Deborah Lynn Kaiser, CCSD resource at Glenwood. Dana J. Zaburis, fifth grade teacher at Old Orchard. Karen S. Seaver, multi-disability support at McTide. And Virginia Ulch, she's a counselor at Walbridge. Together, their years of service to Toledo Public Schools, 415 years in time.
Congratulations. Section 3 is the section for community comment. And I consult with all speakers who speak to the impact of the district community. I don't know what this is. At this time, we read the policy regarding comments of the board.
Public comments for each regular board meeting. Will be limited for 3 minutes. Each individual registered to speak shall have up to 3 minutes to address the board. The rest of the time for public comment happens via advertising. Groups must appoint commissioner and rest of the board. Member of the board has limited discussions to either. Except for the initial time is granted by the president.
Thank you. The board will call the first speaker, Taylor, Executive Director for the Sophia Care and Arts and Culture. To the microphone.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. Good evening, Superintendent Durant, teachers, administrators, committee members. Thank you so much. I'll be quick. I'm here on behalf of the Sophia Quintero Art Culture Center as the Executive Director. We are the lead partner of El Centro Hub, one of the 7 hubs that TPS supports, and we partner with Escuela Smart Academy. At this time, we are the only bilingual, bicultural hub within this infrastructure. And I'm here to press and encourage you today to really re-examine the services and the need and crucial necessity in terms of not just bilingual, but bicultural services. And what that means is supporting our students, our families, and our teachers, and working together with them. We understand daily that the students and families have obstacles, and we work hard in terms of food, medical, transportation, but also focusing in areas of academics, attention, enrichment, attendance, and engagement, multiple factors that we can really bring to the table. This past year and a half, El Centro Hub, our hub alone, has leveraged $41,000 for the school in supplies and services and donations and people bringing skills into the classroom In addition to that, the Sophie Cathedral Center has either leverage or just was gained an additional $130,000 specifically for this hub. Donors, partners, funders, foundations are seeing the partnerships that the schools and the community nonprofits are having. These are new and innovative ways that we can address these everyday obstacles and really look at our services with our family and our students. Please know, I am extremely aware and empathetic of the situation, and I don't take that lightly, and I understand impacts that are going to be made, and I don't take that lightly either. But I am here again to press how crucial it is that the Latino community remains a priority and remains a forefront when looking at student services. And I know we're turning to the student services, but we're really focusing also on our teachers in Escuela, properly supporting them so that they can focus what they need to focus on in the classroom. We're asking for two things. One, as you have to consider those plans, please reconsider the hubs and re-looking at those, specifically a central hub. Secondly, as I close, please consider a conversation, a true strategic focused conversation with the Sophia Cathedral Center, with Flock, with the Latino Alliance, with you all to really sit down and look at how we are addressing and impacting the Latino students and families, bringing the teachers in so that we really can be innovative and creative. There are opportunities here that we can really figure something else new. So just please know, Squawk is committed to the Latino community, and we are here to think outside the box with you all.
Thank you. The second speaker that the board would like to call is Mr. Valdemar Velasquez from El Centro, Spion El Centro Hub in Venezuela, and president of Flock. Well,
First, feel a little disappointed with one of your partners. If one of your most important partners don't have a seat up here, where are the unions? Chairs up here. So. We have a very important discussion about cuts in this district. I'm particularly interested in the help there in Escuela Smart. We were having almost 500 members, associate members that work in greenhouses, nurseries, the food industry, service industry, construction in the Toledo area. Some years ago, the legal services indicated there are 10,000 undocumented immigrants in the city of Toledo alone. That was like 6-7 years ago. And the population is exploding. And now with the current immigration crisis that we have in our country, we're concerned about the families who have their children in the public schools, particularly at Escuela Smart. We've been partnering with the hub there on immigration issues and the dangers and the problems that the students are facing because of the possibility of deportations. Now, we have to do something about that issue. It is a citywide problem. It's not just South Toledo or East Side. We tried to start a bilingual school some years ago. I remember at those meetings we had on the East Side. We didn't do it. So we supported this school, independent, and later affiliated to Toledo Public Schools. And I made sure that every teacher was a member of the teachers union here in Toledo, because they need to be engaged in discussion and dialogues we should be having about these cutbacks with the unions, with their representatives, in order to find out where the cuts really need to be made and how to face this financial crisis. And I hope this is not the final meeting where people can, this is the first I've heard about it, to cut that hub, this work that we're doing with the immigrant workers and their families, and try to overcome the dangers connected with immigration attorneys and so on. It's very critical and very important. And I think that you all ought to be considering how to make this a citywide effort, not just South Toledo, East Side, and the schools that feed the Wade High School and Bowsher, where the majority of these kids are. but it is a citywide problem and a countywide problem. But you guys have to be the leaders. You have to be the ones out in front and being creative and finding ways to solve these problems regardless of the money, and think about starting with yourself first. Do something that you wouldn't do yourself first.
Thank you for the time. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach on this. I appreciate what Taylor and Velasquez have said, but building on that impact, it's about the South Central Hub, but it's about all of the hubs, and it's about the support that those are bringing to the school systems. With the financial pressures that you're having right now, I'm a CPA, a financial girl, I totally understand that piece, but I also understand the magnitude of community support and the dollars that the hubs are bringing into the system. My ask is not, as much as I want to ask to put that back in the budget and keep that line item, I would like to keep that line item in the budget, even if it's zero, so we have an opportunity in the future. But my ask is really that we look at the community support, the number of community members, businesses, organizations that have been supporting these hubs over the last several years, and the amount of investment that the school system has already invested in these hubs, and let us help. From the Health Council standpoint, it is our job to bring groups together to solve some of these complex social problems. We know the social issues and the social drivers that your students are facing, that your teachers are facing. With these hubs, it's only going to get worse. We want to make sure that we have these hubs in place and that we can find a way to work together to do that. So a simple ask is give us as much of a runway as you can without cutting it immediately. Give us time, as much time as you are able to work together, to work with the teachers, work with administration, to find other ways to keep these hubs going so that we can get creative in this community, come together to make sure that we're providing the great support that is needed more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, section, first of all, I want to thank all of our speakers that signed up to speak today. So we're going to go on to another section, and that is section 4, where our unions do have a spot at the table, and always have. So first, though, I'd like to call on our student representative, which we don't have any, but we usually do. So we also give our students a spot at the table. We also give a spot at this table to our parent congress. So we don't have one now to change the date of the meeting from Tuesday to Thursday. So the person that we have lined up to be the parent representative at this table, I had to say that they could not attend. But next, we'd like to have the input of Mr. Emilio Ramirez from TAC.
How convenient.
Stay out there.
Then I will call on Mr. Kevin Dalton from TFP.
Good evening, and we're one day away from a much-needed winter break. So I wanted to say thanks to the Board of Education, Superintendent, Deputy Superintendent, all the folks who are here. I'd like to recognize all the members and community Toledo Federation teachers. Thanks for all that you do in and every day. And also, my apologies, I guess, for all the people that are stuck outside in the rain and couldn't get inside. But I know Michael Alexander and some other folks out there trying to get in, but just for what it's worth. So, before I begin, I wanted to take a moment and ask you to picture a story that I'm sure most of us are familiar with. A Christmas Carol. Scrooge was visited by 3 ghosts. The ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present and the ghost of Christmas yet to be. They forced him, Scrooge, to look at his choices, the consequences, and more importantly, the chance to make a change. Tonight, I'm going to borrow that framework because what our district is asking TFT to accept isn't just an accounting exercise. It's a choice between protecting the promises made to our members and the children we serve, or allowing those promises to be quietly dismantled in the name of a troubling 5-year forecast. They have given us a projection that ends within a $68 million deficit. I don't know if that's changed, because I know it's changed multiple times since September. In response to the deficit, administration plans on eliminating teacher support programs, cutting student activities, potentially removing our school nurses, shuttering tracks, and freezing our pay is being proposed. That plan is not only offensive, it would hollow out our schools and betray the agreements that TFT has negotiated, fought for, and won over the past years. Just for the past, we all remember what we went through in 2009, 10, and 11. Most of you were here for that. I look around the room and I see a lot of people my age, 30, 35. Absolutely. But there were times when the budgets were tight and threats to our contracting programs loomed large. Remember SB5 and how we all came together and fought for our contractual rights and keep unions safe in Ohio. We preserved, TFT did, through these times, class sizes, specialists, teacher support programs like the intern board review, school consultation, to help our first-year teachers, help our veteran teachers that may be struggling due to a large jump in class change, or just a life change going on where we could help them through that profession and make sure they didn't get wrecked. And that's what we fought for. We defended our due process, protected supports for students with the greatest needs, and insisted that promises made to teachers be promises kept. We've all been in that meeting as well. Those protections didn't appear by accident. TFT organized, parents came out, the community members came out, and we all stuck together and we bargained. We worked and we fought at the table. And I know some of the people that looking at right now, some of them at that table at that time. And we worked, we got into enforceable provisions and agreement that we could accept. Doesn't mean we liked it at the time, but we did accept it, and we did what we had to do. But we should not, and we will not forget that history. We do not have any plans of going back to that scenario. The provisions in our contract represent years of collective action and sacrifice. They are not a bargaining chip to be sacrificed because the forecast looks bad on paper, nor are they items to be ignored when it's convenient for administration to implement and not to implement. Ghosts of the present. Right now, our district administration projects a 5-year budget that culminates in a $68 million deficit. Their remedy is a list of cuts that read like a blueprint of deterioration. Eliminate teacher support programs, add student activities. Why not? Potentially cut school nurses. I guess we don't need it. And tracks. Teachers that went through a rigorous process. It wasn't given to them. It was earned. Those teachers would be facing a 15% pay cut. How do you budget that? I don't know. In addition to the pay freezes the district would like to see. So, ask yourselves, who benefits from this plan? Certainly not our students. Fewer supports, fewer things to do after school. We've heard all the things we need to do. We just heard a comment about gun violence and things like that. We know we need to keep our students active and engaged and keep them safe, so they're keeping each other safe. It's what we do. Sure, we didn't go to school to be that, but it's part of our job now. Diminished opportunities for care, assuming that we're cutting nurses, I haven't heard differently. Now, not the families who rely on schools, they're not benefiting by this for stability and opportunity. Our colleagues who come to work every day to educate, support, and build relationships under increasingly difficult conditions. And I won't go into all the problems that we all know exist, because that's not why I'm here. But we know they're out there. We have several members who come in every day, putting up with what they put up with to benefit our students. And certainly, the long term of our financial health will not benefit by making short-sighted cuts that could potentially eliminate our ability to support our educators, focus on special education crisis, work on the higher dropout rates. We're working towards progress, but making these cuts will not do that. And making these cuts have a long-term community burden. We proved this 13 years ago by providing a document. The more students that we graduate, the better our community can grow and progress economically. That's what we've done, and that's what we're working towards. In fact, I've even heard our own superintendent tout the interim board review program many times about the investment in teachers up front pays dividends on the back end. Because once you're investing in training them, and we're supporting them through, that's the investment we make. Transparency matters. TFT deserves a clear accounting of assumptions behind the forecast. We deserve to know what revenue initiatives were pursued. More importantly, what cost-saving alternatives were considered, other than just cut, and how this deficit was allowed to balloon on paper without any timely public engagement. Now, to be fair, I've heard from the district, I've heard from board members, oh, we're worried about the budget, oh, we got to talk to you. My comment was, if you're broke, then act like you're broke. Why do I see administrators who left the district, took buyout, came back under a temporary service to go back in the same role? That's not the cost savings that was presented to me during negotiations. And most of all, and we heard Mr. Velasquez talk about this a little bit, we deserve a seat at the table. I'm not looking for one up there. I'm more comfortable out here with my folks. We deserve a seat at the table when decisions are being framed. Not at the 11th hour. When decisions are being framed and the conversations are at the very infancy of the conversation. That's when we should be there. These folks are the practitioners. They're the ones in the classroom. I don't even profess to know all of it. I've been out of the room long enough to know I've got to turn to all of these people for advice in building these programs. And finally, the ghost of yet to come. If we accept these proposed cuts unchallenged, the coming years will be grim. I can commit to that. Imagine schools where extra help for struggling students is gone, where the nearest nurse is no longer available when the critical moment arrives. And we've all heard these stories of how our school nurses have literally saved kids' lives at times. The student engagement enrichment disappear or drizzle down to nothing, where the workload on teachers becomes unsustainable and morale erodes because pay is frozen. The narrative that we should do more with less is no longer acceptable. Our TFT members are already at the breaking point. That is the future laid out by the administration's current plan. A district diminishing capacity, reputation, neighborhoods potentially losing the schools that made them the centers of community life, and students deprived of a full educational experience that they deserve. But alas, the story does not end in despair. Scrooge saw a possible future, and he changed. Toledo Public Schools must do the same. Confront the forecast. Provide alternatives that do not gut our system and our supports. We demand better choices. We will protect our contract. All the provisions that we have won are not optional. We plan on defending them with every lawful avenue, negotiations, grievance, public campaign, and if necessary, stronger collective action. Our contracts and agreements are not an exercise just because we have nothing to do. They're the baseline for fairness. They're not bargaining chips to be taken away without due process and member consent. Next, we will demand transparency and better analysis. We will insist the district provide all the underlying data and the assumptions behind the deficit forecast. More importantly, explain why alternative revenue measures were not considered, and open the books, if needed, for an independent audit. Forecasts are not destiny. They are projections shaped by assumptions made by the district. We will challenge and test those assumptions. Additionally, we'll be looking to not cutting supports as the only option. We will bring and advocate for alternatives that protect our students and the staff and the contract community. We look to target administrative costs and pay attention more closely, I guess. We will look to continue to fight against all the attacks on public education funding, something that all of us should be doing together. We all are in the same boat. Additionally, we'll be proposing that we should be eliminating any agency from our district that is billing Medicaid. We can provide those services, and we can do the same more effectively and more efficiently. Our intent, if needed, mobilize our members, mobilize our community, because they are the community. Parents, students have already reached out and started to join this argument and this fight on their behalf. This isn't just about us, folks. So we will continue to show the impact of potential cuts and make clear that hollowing out supports in schools is not acceptable. Stories will be shared, not to inflame, but to illuminate the real consequences and build the pressure needed to change this course. We will stand united. Our strength is collective. We will come to board meetings, engage in media, we'll be out in the community, doing all the things we do, prepared to take any and all action needed if our contract or our students are threatened. Solidarity is our safeguard. There's not a group of fearful voices reacting to projections on a page. We are professionals, we're neighbors, we're community members, but more importantly, we're advocates for children. And we know what it takes to make a school work successful. We have been through this before and emerged unified. The Ghost and Dickens story forced Scrooge to see the consequences of his choice. Tonight, our district must consider theirs. Lastly, I'd like to say, I'm not mad about Scott Park campus. In fact, I remember sitting down with the board member probably back in 2017 with our trades partner, talking about how we need to consolidate and centralize career tech in the space. Didn't mean Scott Park campus. But I'm not mad at it. However, per the information the district has provided, if we had a looming deficit of $18 million, even if the levy passed in 2024, I believe that's what I was told, then why did we not ask for additional operating funds the same time we passed the levy for the $99 million bond? Additionally, for the record, I am skeptical of the projected deficit for a variety of reasons. One, it was told to me it was around 40 million. Then I heard 50 million. On November 18th, it was presented to a group of folks at approximately 54 million. On December 2nd, December 3rd, it was 68 million. I was shocked. I would imagine there's people in this room that didn't even hear that number either. Shocking. But when I looked at what was provided to me, again, I questioned the $18 million deficit in 2024 because we ratified our contracts in May of 2024. I've always been told by the district treasurer, you today, that we can't have a contract, we can't be certified for 55 years, zero advance, no debt. What happened to the $18 million? Did it just disappear and reappear? Another question I have, and somewhat flippant, but why do all the numbers even? 300 kids, 68 million, 1,500 kids. Everything's an even number? We just rounding up or rounding down? Let me know. Another question I have is, I saw in the document that was provided to me, is that the projected cost for our contracts wasn't projected correctly. That's not on me. I don't do the budget. So I'm not sure why we're being asked to take a sacrifice for that. Next, I do want to say, in the budget documents that were provided to me at TFT, our board of directors in the presentation, the one number I do believe is the $12 million that was cut by the state through the biennium budget. We know the legislature in Columbus is attacking this. We know that they took $12 million from this year and $12 million from next year. My first grade background tells me 12 plus 12 is 24. Now, the reason that's important is because TFT took 44 cuts last year with our teachers on special assignment to get it back in the classroom. One, because we recognize our best teachers need to be in the classroom at a time when we have a teacher shortage. Two, if there is a financial problem, that was it. Pat took some cuts too, if I remember. Now, I'm going to freelance here, but I believe I was told all the cuts totaled roughly $30 million. 30 minus 24 is 6. I'm not sure where that's at. So, as I've stated over the past several months, and we missed opportunity having meetings in a couple I just didn't even respond to because, listen, if you want me to think you're broke, then I got to see it. So papers aren't, I'm not, papers, the math isn't math on the graph. And lastly, I'd like to say, I've been told by a lot of people, administration, even some in the community, that the 2024 levy was passed because of stop park cameras. This is false. The 2024 levy was passed, much like all the levies before that, because of a strategy that TFT executed, and candidly, in partnership with our superintendent most times. And that was to build up the reputation of TPS so our district leadership could go in rooms and not have to explain away the points of consternation, deficiencies, if you will, in our district. It was a strategy. We put it together. We passed levies with historic rates in a partnership. Scott Park campus didn't pass the levy. We all did. And to that I say, you're welcome.
So, I would like to say, is that better? So, I was actually an employee of TPS when we got laid off my 30 year here. When we went through the hardships, like Kevin Dalton spoke about, he covered a lot of what I would have liked to have asked, not that I couldn't in the presentation that we've been given. But what is really concerning to us is we have suddenly been giving a hypothetical plan for which none of ours truly understand. It has sent the community, our students, our parents, and our workers into absolute chaos on what this district is doing. We have no specifics, we have no definite answers, we have think, we might, this, that, but we have nothing. And now we're going to go and suddenly say we're going to cut all these jobs, we're going to do all this stuff. All of a sudden, right before the holidays, to every single one of us. And some of us, because lower paid ones hit harder than others, but a lot of our workers have kids in TPS. That 4-day schedule
That does not work. If we're already losing 300 students a year, what do you think is going to happen when people come back? What we expected is an actual plan. Not a hypothetical, not an I think, but an actual sit down. This is what we're facing, not this is what we're going to do. Services that each of us provide is something vitally critical to this district. And I understand teachers and all their programs. I understand the buildings being opened, kids getting fed, being transported across the district to accommodate the services that this district provides for our community. But there is no plan in that transitional hypothetical thing that we have been given. None of our people are in anything but absolute panic. They're in panic for the work, they're in panic for their families, they're in panic for their kids, and they're in panic for their futures. What does this do? No, I don't want to send a child to charter school. But if that means that's what I have to do because I can't do a 4-day school week, every single child here is going to need something on a Monday. As we look at what's been proposed as part of this transitional plan, we are greatly concerned about the impact it will have on our members' ability to maintain the standards that our students, families, workers, and district and community deserve. And we expect to have conversations over that, to get those details, and to have more information without a panic button being hit because a number has suddenly arranged at 68 million that came out. We just ratified in February. We ratified it in good faith. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I look forward to further discussions with you.
Thank you very much. We are going to go to section 5 this time. And this is the Ohio Department of Education, the workforce section with the approval of the state plan and the narrative of workforce that were required study for the state. So with that, I'll turn it over to you want to go first? Okay. Well, yeah, you want to explain that? I do want to send my prayers out to Brian and his family. I know that it's going to be going through a tough time, not only at home, but with family. This process is very arduous, and I know that we have struggled mightily through it. But it doesn't allow for some reflection on my part about family. Tonight, and I'm going to read a lot of this and try my best not to video. But the first question tonight, we're explaining the path that we're putting on school in this financial situation. The actions the district has taken along the way. The United States of Ohio requires the district to follow the state required precautionary recovery plan, which includes 2 pathways as part of the acknowledging and dealing with the process of regaining financial stability within this district. It is important to note that Toledo School is not the only school district that is dealing with financial stress. All of the districts face the same daunting challenges through the reductions in the state and federal funding and increase in operational costs. How we got it. The administration proactively recognized
prior to this state responsibility.
We cannot hear you. Can you speak louder, please? I hear you.
Is that any better? I've never been told that people can't hear me. All right. So, TPS successfully negotiated, this was talked a little bit earlier, three-year contracts with our bargaining units to ensure staff stability. These contracts, which included salary increases, were ratified prior to the decision of the state to underfund the Fair School Funding Plan. This timing created a financial gap. Unfortunately, the current state biennial, as was mentioned, failed to fund the final 2 years as promised also, resulting in a significant unexpected loss. In addition to failing to fully fund the Fair School funding, the legislature also enacted changes to supplemental funding calculations, which we learned of that finalization in October. We have maintained market share in terms of enrollment, but there has been decline due to population within the city and state. Some of the timelines on how we got here, we did receive in July a notice from the state that the district expenses need to be on notice. It was not the precaution. In October 15th, we did submit a forecast, and then on October 22nd is when we got our notice. We then also reached out to our unions, our collective bargaining units, on October 21st, the day before we got that, to start scheduling discussions. We did have an opportunity to meet with them on October 27th. We did meet with some of our bargaining units, as was mentioned, on November 18th. After the break, we did connect and reach out with TFT as well on December 2nd, followed that up with the Board of Trustees, and then we're here. So what's in this state plan? Under the state required framework, the district must develop two pathways. I'm going to refer to them as a preferred plan and a state required plan. What I do want to make clear to you all is that items that was presented is not a part of this overall plan. For instance, the 4 days is not included in this plan. Preferred plan is what the district hopes to achieve through the negotiations, and the state required plan is what the district must implement if no agreement is reached. Both of these plans are identical the first year. They do include reductions in staff of close to 100 individuals. The true difference of the plan is in the second year. Without agreement, the state required plan does require us to reduce another 90 additional staff members. As a result of the state required plan, there is no discretion. It is required that we reach a solvency state. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Bob.
Thank you. Turn it over to Dr. Grant for your recommendation.
Yep. In regard to recommendations, one of the things that we did, particularly last week, had ability to meet with all union presidents along with superintendents of the Ohio 8. And within that, I can tell you the heart-wrenching devastation that is happening in the state of Ohio. When I'm hearing one district cutting all pre-K, the other district said, I'm cutting all bus transportation. The other district said, we're cutting over 30 schools, and another one is doing the same along with them. which is over half the number of schools we have in TPS, period. And at the same time, many of them are cutting staff. And then one district said in October 24, we had a 5-year bailout forecast, which is the best we've ever had in 30 years. In 6 months, we're in financial watch because of merely of a vote that happened in legislation that reduced the dollars to urban education. People, I tell you, we are under attack. I am telling you, not only financially, they are attacking seniority, and they are coming back with SC5 to take our collective bargaining rights. That is literally an agenda that is set. And what I want in essence is just energy. We're going to show up in Columbus. See, what I want is just energy to our elected officials because we need individuals defending us while these legislative actions are happening.
Talking about 200 layoffs.
Yes, and there's much more. And so the thing is that we're moving and progressing forward, and just like I said, there's nothing, and there's no one in this district that it hurts more than to see individuals laid off. At the same time, like I tell people, there's many sleepless nights, not only during this, but all year. And that's the word for this district. But when I would say this, if we will build and continue to build, we will continue to work for it, just as Mr. Johnson has stated before. We've been here before, and we have a roadmap to continue out. And at the same time, what we need to do is continue to work within this. And so, in essence of the plan that's offered in regards to the state plan, there's support in essence of moving forward on the state plan, and hopefully with an agreement, we're able to salvage as many positions as we can as possible. And that ultimately happens in essence of collective bargaining with Mr. Dalton, Mr. Ramirez, along with Dawn, and having conversations with the NET. But our main goal and objective is to salvage each as many positions as we can, but it all happens through an agreement and working together. And that ultimately we're going to continue to move and do as a district. And so that's my recommendation for the best to move forward.
Take a paper.
Accept the recommendation for the state plan. Move to our section. I'll start off with Bishop Parker.
It's a nice time. We are all.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can you speak into the mic, please?
Yes. Can you hear me?
No. Thank you.
Yes.
And we got 100%. But you want to make more
We are
cuts.
facing
Can't hear you.
hard times, and I don't believe that there's anybody in this room who takes lightly the weight of what is before us tonight. The decisions that are connected to the state plan are not abstract. I believe they're personal. They affect people's livelihood, their families, their classrooms, ultimately our children. Some of these factors may be in our control, some of them may not. Most of our results are a system of political bullies that don't value or desire to fund public education the way it should. But here's what I know. We have been here before. The district has faced uncertainty before.
And you didn't learn.
And history has shown us that we have not only survived it, but we've learned from it.
Yeah. Where?
And that's why I believe that this moment requires real transparency, real honesty, real humility, and unity.
We're waiting for it.
To everyone in this building and even outside, your presence matters. Your voice matters. Your advocacy matters. There's nobody in this room, I believe, who does not want to protect public education. There's nobody in here who woke up hoping for cuts. And I want to say on record that this board really has been advocating. We've been fighting. We've been in conversations on the state level, on the federal level. We've pushed, we've challenged, we've made our case for this district. And even though those efforts may not have been visible to many of you, they're still real. This is hard for you, and I want you to know that it's hard for us too. Serving in this role doesn't shield us from the weight of these decisions. We feel the tension, between financial responsibility and human impact. We feel the pressure of compliance and the pain of consequence. And we carry the responsibility of making choices that we pray will position us in this district to get to where we need to, not just to survive today, but to thrive tomorrow. I do believe that this is a storm, and storms test structure. They also reveal strength. And if we weather together, if we keep talking to each other, we refuse to allow our frustrations to be our hindrance, then we can really come back stronger. This is a hard chapter, but it doesn't have to be the end of the story if we stay together. Thanks.
Storms kill too.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was looking at my watch because it is telling me how much my heart is racing right now. So I do want you to know that I'm not unaffected by what's happening in this room right now, what you're all going through. I had intended to ask a lot of questions so that we could at least leave this room hearing the answers, the same answers, all of you and me at the same time, but our treasurer had an emergency actually. But I mean, actually, he's at the deathbed of his mother-in-law, so I am going to say that. I'm still going to ask my questions. I'm just a little disappointed that I can't get into the weeds as much as I would like to be able to. And while Mr. Treasurer is not here for me to make this request, I am going to very definitely make sure that there's an opportunity for him and Mr. Dalton and his best financial minds, anyone he can bring to the table, to open those books. In fact, they are open, but listen, I know if I open the spreadsheets, I need someone to help me understand them. So I'm not going to pretend that it's as simple as just downloading the budget and then saying, hey, how does this work? But I do expect our treasurer to afford that opportunity to Mr. Dalton. The next thing I am going to do, though, is I'm going to own my part of this.
That's Scott Park.
Actually, I think we are going to talk about a pause to Scott Park. We don't expect Scott Park to go forward. This whole thing is settled. So if you just give me a minute, I want to own my part of this. And we will be voting on the proposal that's in front of us momentarily. This part about, a plan coming out that, no one really knew about and where did that come from? This board was brought up to speed about just how dire the situation was in October at a special board meeting. And you're right, that number has changed even since then, and much to our own consternation. And if we can't settle on a number that we all believe in, how can we come together and get solution focused? That was my goal for the last 5-6 weeks, is how are we going to get to a number we can all trust? I'm not sure we got there, but here we are. What I want to talk about is this plan, okay, and where it belongs. This plan that we tried to call it a transformation plan. I'm just going to call it restructuring right now, and that is. That's the now what, right? We have the what. I don't think I'm hokey, but I use these all the time in my trainings. What, so what, and now what. The what we can barely even come to an agreement on. The what is how much money is this, right? I'm hoping we can get to the what. The so what is today we have to pass something that it does have cuts in it. All right. The now what is what can we do next? What can we do? Not in 2 weeks from now, but in 4 weeks from now, sometime between January and April, we're going to have to come up with some kind of restructuring. And the way the board described that in our special board meeting was we don't want to die by 1,000 cuts. And we challenged the administration to come up with something bold, something that we could hang our hat on, something that we could say was going to get us to be the district that we're meant to be on the other side of this crisis and in the times that we're in. So we did ask the district to come up with some ideas. What we didn't expect was that it would come out in such a way that it looked like
This was a done deal. This is what we're going to do. So I just want to make sure you understand.
Why are we hearing it from the youth? Why are we hearing it from the youth? They have the right to have discussion.
This is our first discussion, and I'm just hoping that you'll hear me out while I relive what we've been through. We asked for a bold plan. That plan is the now what. It's not what we're voting on today. We are not voting on anything in that plan today. It's the now what. That's the what do we do on the other side of this, and how can we work together to make this district the best it can be. And you know, to me, that part was just, it's just moot today, because we are talking about 100 jobs. We are talking about 100 people. In the coming days, are going to learn that their positions have been eliminated. There is no other way forward today. But there is a way to keep it from getting even worse, and there is a way to hopefully come out as a district that can meet these challenges. I don't know any other way. I wish the number wasn't 68 million. I thought it was 50 million for a while too, right? And so the number just does keep changing, and I think we welcome any opportunity for anyone to look closely at the books and come up with a different number. I do want to ask a question, Dr. Durant, about hubs, since we had so many committee speakers on the hubs topic. When we first started going down the path of community hubs, and I think I was on the board, pretty proud of that opportunity that we had to start building out the hubs. Is my memory correct that those were funded originally by the United Way, or at least half funded by the United Way, and then over time they became the complete responsibility of the district to fund?
That's correct. It started off to be community activation collaboration, and that was not only United Way, but it was also a sponsoring agency such as YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, whatever that needs to be put out.
So, but now they're completely funded by us.
That is correct.
So I also want to say that, okay, so there is still there's other funding. I'm not gonna engage out here, but I am asking that question, like what other funding is available to hubs? And I do support the notion that while we may not be funding the hubs, we are not eliminating the line item, right? We're not doing that. That is a fact that the hubs, I mean, it's kind of weird to say they still exist when we're not funding them, but we are not funding them. I would rather say funding, because it's on this list. It is on the list today of things that are going to go, right? But the idea that we can keep that notion open for how other communities, I mean, that's the so what. That's the what can we solve, how can we solve it later. They are massive cuts. I am going to reiterate that I expect that Scott Park campus and any related programs and buildings or new magnet schools be on pause until we solve this whole problem. I think it's kind of a given that that's the case in the plan that we're voting for. So if that's of any help to anyone, it's in the so what. In the so what. So what is, how do we make the district what we need it to be? And that then we can figure out how we can proceed with things like, a consolidated construction trades program and so on and so forth. So I'm just trying to keep that in this box for us to collaborate on immediately at the first part of the year. And I appreciate the time, Mr. President. I can't guarantee I'm not going to have more questions as I listen to other comments. So I may be asking to be recognized again.
This bar.
Okay, I wrote up my comments. Number one, I appreciate that everyone's here. I can respect. Can't hear you. You can't hear me? I don't know. I respect the fact that you're here. I understand it. I have family members who are TFT. I get it. As a board, we're obligated to submit a plan to the State of Ohio's Department of Ed to address this projected FY27 deficit in the district's October forecast. And it's due December 21st. I'll only speak for myself, but I am angry and sad that the district finds itself in this financial situation. Toledo Public Schools serves a diverse community with significant needs, and we are doing so in a challenging financial environment. Like many Ohio districts, especially urban districts, TPS faces rising costs, enrollment shifts, and funding structures that do not fully reflect the needs of our students, not to mention the ever-growing state-sanctioned charter school industry and state-sanctioned private school voucher initiative, which alone cost taxpayers $1.2 billion just this year. Ohio's funding system continues to place districts like TPS at a disadvantage. I will continue advocating for fair, adequate, and equitable public school funding at the state and federal level, like I've done for many years. Our students' needs do not disappear during budget shortfalls, and funding systems must reflect that reality. We continue to face financial challenges, and it's not the result of a single decision or short-term issue. They are systemic and ongoing. Moving forward, we will be engaging our families, our staff, and the Toledo community because these decisions affect all of us. The state plan can and will be amended, and that's where our families, staff, and community can help. Even in these challenging times, my commitment to our students, staff, and community remains unwavering. I do ask you to join me in transforming our district into one that works for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, myself. I think those of you who know me, there's no explaining how people feel. So I'm not going to try. Because I don't try, I don't care. It's just nothing anybody can say.
Can you say that again?
There's nothing anybody can say that's going to make it sound good. I think the only thing I want to say is that there is a plan to the state that is due by 21st. That's what we're doing. And if we don't submit that plan, there are consequences by the state towards this district. So that's what we're going to vote on. And that's what's recommended to us by the administration. But I will take this time during my comments to say a couple of things. One is that right after this vote, I'm going to make a motion. Can't do it here because we're already in the middle of this discussion. Right after this, I'm going to make a motion that a board, that this board votes on a board transformation plan and oversight committee of the board.
Thank you.
And my vision for this committee is to work in partnership with the administration. And I understand that this action, and everyone should understand that this action goes beyond the role of a traditional governance board, which is what we are. However, at this time, this situation requires a deeper dive by board members. My vision is that subcommittees will be created to take the place of our current committee structure that is entirely focused on this transformation plan. The next president, on January 6th, at the board organizational meeting, I'm hoping will name the committee members, name the committees and the members. It is during this process, meeting the committee meetings, that staff, our labor unions, and the community and all other interested parties can participate in designing the Toledo Public Schools district of the future. I'm asking for this action to be taken now because as outgoing president, I feel very strongly about this. And I want to use this time, this last meeting that I have, to create this committee. I don't want to handcuff the next president of this board and overstep. It should be their prerogative to choose the committees, the committee members, and how the committees will be populated and run. They also should choose how progress will be monitored. I will also be asking, and that's after this vote, so I'm just kind of interjecting this right now. We got to vote on this after we take this other vote. I am also asking, as the president, that a pause, that we continue construction, because we're required to do that, but a pause be put on the district Scott Park program. And as president, I'm asking if the next president of this board also honor that. So with that, is there other discussion? Any other board members? Either.
This plan with immediate position cuts. When will the union leadership?
When will the the union leadership be made aware of exactly which positions in the list of their members, our employees, will be affected by that? When is that happening?
Yeah, so what will happen is as soon as this action is taken, we will be notifying the unions about any positions as those are final. We hope to do that as yet this week.
Well, so tomorrow. Tomorrow. So, well, yeah. And while I appreciate the fact that it's, I just don't think it can wait. I don't think it can wait. So even though we would really rather not go on break with that information in our heads, I don't think it can wait. And then, of course, from there, there'll be following the collective bargaining units agreements. My other question is, so that'll happen tomorrow. Oh, in this plan that we're voting on today, there are no wage freezes or anything like that, because obviously those we can't approve a wage freeze unless they're negotiated and agreed upon. Correct?
Yeah, there's two pathways. There's a state required pathway, and you're absolutely correct in that there is no wage freeze, and there's an alternative pathway, which there is.
And that alternative pathway would affect the next round of how deep the second round of cuts would need to be or not. I mean, according to this, yes. That other pathway would mean with an agreement there wouldn't be any further cuts. But all that still remains to be negotiated. We're not voting on cuts or any freezes, wage or step freezes at this point.
We could not. We have to
That's right. And I knew that. I just wanted to make sure I said it out loud that I knew what I'm voting.
I thought that I'm done with my comments, but I guess I really forgot some things that I wrote down here. But I want to get to the point of letting you know that right after this, we're going to create that oversight committee of the board, and I don't want to lose that in the discussion. But I want to reiterate what my colleagues have said here to some extent about public education, traditional public education. Make no doubt that there are people who are trying to change the way public school districts look and operate.
We know.
Well, sir, I've been trying, but they have the votes, and they've been voting against our wishes. I want to make that very clear. Yeah, it does. It does. But I think it is important for you to know that many of us take our time and we do go. You don't think we do? Anyway, we do. We take our time. But I want you to know that we do need your help. But I hope everybody does hear you. I hope everybody hears the way that you feel about public education, because we share that. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote.
Just remember, you're voting on our livelihood, not yours.
Very good. Good morning. I call the roll. Ms. Barnes? Mr. Parker? Ms. Dorkin? Ms. Monley? Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Now, at this time, I would ask for a motion by the board to create a board transformation plan and oversight committee. It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion about that? Hearing no discussion, please call the roll. Ms. Barnes? Mr. Parker? Ms. Gerken? Ms. Marley? Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. We're clear. Thanks for coming out. Stuff, how are you? Good's gonna be expected, right? Merry Christmas.
Try and make you happy.
Well, they already know about it, right? Good evening. Everyone is here to address the series and difficult decision, one that no one is taking lightly. As the organizer, I appreciate everyone who shows up in this room and those who are viewing on YouTube. Let me be clear. Pressure is how change This is bigger than the administration. This is bigger than the district. Public education. No one cares! We are navigating federal state administration. People have voted for this on a federal level. They have repeatedly shown a lack of commitment to public education, as state officials create new ways to rob public education, like paying for $600 million for a stadium, and giving charter schools $1 billion this year alone, while we provide transportation and IEP support, among others, through support to those charter schools. While federal interface continues to destabilize the department that provides essential resources, financial and financial support to our state. So again, thank you for showing up. I welcome the pressure, but what matters most now is consistency. What matters is accountability for all parties, including your state representatives. You are welcome to the fight. We have been fighting. I have become desperate. So please, if you're going to fight with me, I will fight by education.
Come out to the buildings then.
That takes us to the next section of the agenda, which is number 7, which is the consent agenda. I'm going to read items 7.01 through 7.21, and the board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. Item 7.01 to 7.04 is Human Resources and Staff Development Training Committee, Chair Polly Taylor Durkin, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 705 through 710 is Finance and Business Operations Committee, Chair Bob Vasquez, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 7.11, Workforce Development Partnership Committee. There was no meeting this month. Chair is Chris Barwick and Co-Chair Bob Vasquez. Item 7.12 to 7.15 was board curriculum instruction and academic excellence. Chair Polly Taylor Durkin and Co-Chair Chris Barwick. Item 7.16, the Policy Committee, no meeting this month. Chair Bob Vasquez, Co-Chair Peter Barwick. Item 7.17, Arts, Athletics, and Student Activities Committee. No action items this month. Chair Chris Barwick, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 7.18 through 7.19, Family Community Engagement Committee, Chair Sheila Barnes, Co-Chair Bob Vasquez. Item 7.20 through 7.21 is the approval of board meeting minutes. I request a motion at this time for the consent agenda items. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Gale, would you call the roll? Yes.
I thought she was
Ms. Barnes.
She had to get through. I do see her. I just turned on my phone.
Ms. Barley. Mr. Vasquez. Yeah. Section 8 of the agenda consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are here for information and reference. No action is required, so we can proceed to section 9 of the agenda. Section 9 of the agenda is designation of President Pro Tem for President Pro Tem. I need a motion for the President Pro Tem nomination. I nominate Chris Barlow. Yeah, we have to have someone. Yeah, they can be. Yeah. I'm nominating Chris Barlow as President Pro Tem. It can be either way, but if you want somebody from the administration, all right. You have a point. Mr. Point. Well, at this point, I nominate President Pro Tem. Motion's been nominated. Mr. Gann in a second by Ms. Barber. You call the roll? Yes. Ms. Barnes. Mr. Parker. Ms. Guskin. Ms. Barley. Yes. Mr. Vasquez. Yes. Section 902. Yes, 902 is to establish the date for the organizational board meeting. We do have a date on the calendar. All right, we established the date as December 6th for the organizational board meeting. January 6th. Craft motion to designate that date for the organization. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Gann, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Gann, would you call the roll? Yes. Ms. Barnes. Mr. Parker. Ms. Gherkin. Ms. Marley. Mr. Vasquez. Yes. All right. Section 9.03 is resolution opposing Ohio Senate Bill 107. You want to read it? All right. This resolution has been through two committees. We're not going to read it. I'd like a motion to approve the resolution opposing Ohio Senate Bill 107. It's been moved by Ms. Barnes, seconded by Ms. Farley. Any discussion on that? Any other? No. Hearing none. Mr. Gant? Yes. Ms. Barnes? Yes. Mr. Parker? Yes. Ms. Gerken? Ms. Barley? Yes. Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Next section 10. And that is walk-ins. Do we have any walk-ins? We do not. All right. Takes us to section 11, early childhood education action items. Chair Randall Parker III, co-chair Sheena Barnes. I'll turn this over to Randall Parker III.
Good evening, everyone. I ask your approval for our delegate agreements, 11.01 and 11.02 for our partners in Innsbruck.
Can we bundle those together, or do we have to do them separately?
I believe that to be done separately.
All right. So let's do the first one first. Do I have a motion? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Gant, would you please call the roll? Yes. Ms. Barnes? Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Gergen? Yes. Ms. Barley?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Next is the early Head Start delegate agency agreement. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, or Mr. Gant, please call the roll. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Gerken?
Yes.
Ms. Barley?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez? Yes. That takes us to section 12. The agenda consists of early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings. They're provided for your information and reference. No action is required, so we can proceed to section 13. And that would be early childhood education walk-ins. Do we have any walk-ins? All right. We don't. We do not. All right. Section 14, our comments. Do we have comments by the superintendent or from the superintendent? All right, that's it. Mr. Gann, do you have any comments? I do not. Board members, do you have any comments? Okay.
I just want to recognize, I love that you are banners for participating today in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to make sure that we have that documented in here, that the board is appreciative of that. I love that students are able to participate in our board meetings in some action. And then also the mission and vision. And I'm hearing that I did not recognize the 415 years, was it, for retirees who graduated now. And we could not do what we do without what they do. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That takes us to a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Been moved by Ms. Barnes and seconded by Ms. Riley. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Camp, please call the roll. Ms. Barnes? Mr. Parker? Ms. Gerken? Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Meeting adjourned.